Hoogie spooky. This was not an accident, my friends. This was no accident, at least that is my theory. But let me explain. First, I will say this video might seem a tad un-Arlo-like. I'm gonna unlock my more cynical side here. I do have a much more, I don't know, jaded, cynical view when it comes to the movie industry specifically. I think a lot less of the movie industry and their attempts to, especially when it comes to getting kids to sit down in the seats and watch movies. So forgive me if this comes off as a little too harsh, but this is how I feel. Before I launch into my whole theory though, first, impressions. I just watched the Sonic movie trailer, and it looks so bad. It looks terrible, awful. It looks so bad, you guys. And here's the thing. I gotta tell you, here's the thing. This is not coming from a Sonic fan. This is not coming from a Sonic purist who thinks his shoes are wrong or that his eyes are supposed to be one glob instead of two. Like, I think Sonic's fine. I like Sonic. I liked him a lot as a kid, but I'm not a purist. I don't care that much about everything being accurate or whatever. This is purely as a person who likes to look at things with his eyes and watch movies. And as that person, I see this trailer and it looks like, okay, I'm gonna pull it back a little bit. It looks not good, at least from my early impression of it. It just, like, if I didn't know what Sonic was, if I just saw this trailer, I would think the same way. It just looks bad. Sonic's design is just super unpleasant. It's just a bad, unpleasant design to look at. Again, nothing to do with accuracy, not even thinking about the way Sonic actually looks. This is just not a fun thing for my eyes to look at. It's awkward and weird and gross and like uncanny valley, kind of realistic, kind of cartoony, but not in a good way at all. And then, like, what are the three main things you look at in a trailer? It's how it looks, the story, and the humor. So how it looks is not good. And then, like, you know, nothing else in the movie looks particularly good visually. Then the story is just so painfully generic. Like, awfully generic. It's just another the whole thing. Ah, gosh, we just got the Detective Pikachu thing. You know, we're like, oh, I'm finding this weird CG guy in my house. And, like, it's just... It was already old before that, but at least Detective Pikachu is like doing it better. But this, where like he's like, oh, what's this? And then he yells, and then he yells, and they both scream. Like, that joke has been done 600 million thousand times. And just so much about the movie is just so generic. It's a nothing movie. It's a nothing. And then even the movies with the weirdest concepts can still be funny. And in fact, sorry to keep comparing this to Detective Pikachu, but I'm gonna. Because I think that's what the studio wanted. But more about that in a bit. It can still just be funny. Detective Pikachu, I was really skeptical, because that's just a weird idea. And then I watched the trailer, and I was like, oh, but it's got funny jokes in it. I like what's happening in the trailer. You know what I mean? Sonic does not have that. It's all the most bad, generic, heard it a million times humor. There's not one single thing in the trailer that is genuinely funny, except maybe Jim Carrey licking the quill, because everybody always licks or like tastes it or something to see what's up with it, and then it shocks him. Slightly funny. That's it. That's the only thing I'll give it. The rest of it is just ho-hum, same garbage, same thing we always get. It's just very clear that like so little effort went into this as far as like making it look good, making it look interesting at all, giving it an interesting story. It's just the same old Hollywood schlock. But here's the thing. I could be wrong. Here's my theory. I think it was 100% on purpose. Because, listen, if you're gonna really adapt something, you gotta really do it. And that's hard. It's hard to adapt something really faithfully, and if you fail, if it doesn't quite resonate, then you're not gonna get the general audiences either. You won't get the general audiences or the fans. You might get some of the fans. So these studio people, they think, I mean, you know, that's how it always is with these video game adaptations. They're never comfortable just making it a true adaptation. They have to put it into our world. It can't just be actual Sonic and actual Eggman doing stuff in the places that they do. No, it's got to be our world. And Sonic, oh, and then the military comes in and they think he's an alien and they want it, like, it's the same thing. And here's the thing, like, Hollywood's been doing this for so many years. And, like, okay, I don't want to give them too much credit with this theory, because it is true that they keep making these mistakes and these movies keep flopping, and they always are left wondering why, even though they make the same mistake. It is possible they're just making the same mistake here, but I'm trying to actually give them the benefit of the doubt and claim that this was on purpose. They knew that it would be really difficult to make a good Sonic adaptation, and if they failed, then the fans wouldn't be happy and the general audiences would just not really care. They wouldn't even want to go see it. It would just look like something weird, which I could argue is ridiculous about a Sonic movie. More than any other video game movie, Sonic movie would actually work. But that's the whole thing. So they were like, you know what? Let's not try. Let's give this movie barely any budget, which is kind of clear from like the bad special effects and all that stuff. Just make it a generic Hollywood movie, so maybe any passing person who's not even a fan will see it. Kids will just go see it because Hollywood people think kids are just idiots that'll see anything, which is totally harsh, but it's true. They treat kids like they're just nothing sometimes. They don't, I feel that they do not respect kids' intelligences the way that they should. And so, you know what? Let's just make it as bad as we can, because then at the very least, all this internet era, the people who are my age will go see it out of curiosity. They'll see it for the lulz, for the memes, as it were. And so they'll make a quick buck. They barely spent any money on it. They barely took any effort at all. And of course, they probably heard, they probably caught wind that the Detective Pikachu movie was coming, so they're like, we need something like that too, because that's another thing Hollywood does, is they're really afraid of somebody else having success. So they feel like they need to push something out to kind of compete with it, even though that's not a thing, even though like someone else's success is not your failure necessarily. Again, that could be a whole video in itself. So I think that's what they did here. They're just like, no money, no effort, push it out. Kids will see it because kids are dumb. That's not what I'm saying. That's what they're saying in this case. And it's Sonic, and all the 20 to 30 people will go see it because it looks so bad, and they want to see how bad it is, and it's dumb, and everybody will share around all the memes of how bad Sonic looks and everything, so at least it'll get that kind of attention, and then it'll be done. They'll be like, there, we made our tiny chunk of money. Done. You know what I mean? And again, I could be wrong. This could honestly just be another Hollywood studio for real trying to do an adaptation, and they're like, hey, can we do a Sonic movie? And then the studio goes, oh, the old guys at the studio go, okay, but it's gotta be modern, it's gotta be real world, modern times, it's gotta have the military in it, and it's gotta be all these things, you gotta have all these tropes and everything. And then they just ruin it again, and maybe it won't work. Maybe it'll just be a horrible flop, like most video game adaptations that end up being bad. Who knows? Maybe I am giving them too much credit here, and maybe I am also giving too much credit to the idea that they will make money off of it because of the lulz and the memes, you know what I mean? Maybe it'll be just a dumb flop like everything else, and they'll just be like, what? I guess a Sonic movie doesn't work after all, because we tried and nobody saw it, even though there's just like nobody working on the project whatsoever that actually knows what a Sonic movie would be, or what Sonic fans might want. Although I have to say, the idea is very sad. Kind of funny, but mostly sad that there are people who like love Sonic, who are like, oh my gosh, it's my dream to work on a Sonic movie, and they're like designing him, and then the studio comes in and is like, nope, it's gotta look like that, do that, shrink that, do that, and so they're just like, it's just like ruining the image of Sonic, but that's their job, so they have to do it, and this is just, and it's just, their dream job has become a nightmare. It's a little funny, but it is mostly sad. So I don't know, man, that's the Sonic movie. It's not gonna be good. I'm not, as a semi-journalist reviewer, I'm not supposed to just be like, this is my opinion on the thing that hasn't come out. And that's what I've been trying not to do with video games. You know, to a point, I have to say, I need to experience it first before I know. With movies, I'm a little different. With movies, I can watch a trailer and no, I'm never exactly wrong, because the trailer is telling you the quality of the movie, the quality of the jokes that you will see, how it's gonna look, what the story's about. And when all of those things are bad, the movies, I'm not gonna like the movie, let's just say that. Maybe it will be a super great movie and everyone else will like it, but I know I am not gonna like it. I'm gonna just not, You know what? I'm hearing a lot of people be like, Jim Carrey's gonna be the only good thing about this movie. I don't even know if he's gonna be a good thing about the movie. And like, I was like watching the trailer halfway, like on Twitter without the sound, like before I watched the whole thing. And like, Jim Carrey's great. He'll put as much into it as he can. And it looks okay visually, the mustache and all that. His visual comedy is very good. But then I listened to it, and the jokes aren't good. The jokes are, again, the same. I've heard everything he does in the trailer is a joke I've heard 1,000 other times. Even like he says a big, long, smart thing, and then someone has to translate it, but like, we're not so stupid that we don't understand the long thing in the first place. It's just such an, oh my gosh. Oh, it's decades old, that joke. The in English plays. Oh my gosh. So I don't even know about Jim Carrey. I know like right at the very end of the trailer, there's this little, this teaser thing, and I've heard people say that this is probably from like the end credits thing or a little teaser at the end where it's him and he actually looks a lot more like Eggman and he's in a place with mushrooms. That's not giving me hope. You know what I mean? Like, the movie's not going to do well enough to have a sequel. It's not like in the sequel they're going to actually go to wherever with the mushrooms and stuff. And even if they did, they would just find a way to modernize it and bring the real world into it. And it would be like, oh, the military wants to take over mushroom land and use its energy. I don't know, you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm just going on and on. So that's what I think about this whole Sonic movie thing. I do not think it looks good. I have to wonder if they did it all the way on purpose, just to do it, to kind of take advantage of this internet era with the memes and the Twitter and the sharing and all that stuff. But maybe not. Maybe it's just another bad decision that will not make any money and will just once again be tarnish the reputation of the idea of video game movies. But hey, at least we got Detective Pikachu, huh? That looks pretty good. Looking forward to that. And the Mario movie by Illumination, which I'm 100% sure will live up to that Nintendo quality standard. And anyway, let's not go into that right now. Let me know what you think about this Sonic thing down in the comments. I'm gonna go. Bye. Well, one more thing. Okay, no, the teaser at the end that shows Jim Carrey and he looks a lot more like Eggman and the mushrooms and all that stuff. My conspiracy theory brain, my cynical conspiracy theory brain, another thing about that, I bet you anything that was a calculated move on the part of the studio because they know that there's always going to be people being like, well, I'm not going to judge it until I see it. And then they see that part in the trailer and then they're going to be like, well, look at that. That looks authentic. That looks faithful to the original source material. Maybe this movie won't be so bad after all, because that's always what happens with that kind of thing. All you got to do is slip in that one tiny thing and then people got to be like, whoa. Maybe we're wrong about all this. You know what I mean? Anyway, that could also not be true. But I think that's true. We'll say bye.